Hockey is an interesting sport, and what I wanted to do in this video was go over one of the more low-key hockey stories that has been percolating throughout the internet. Now, this is a really big deal if you're a fan of the Canadiens, if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Flyers, or the San Jose Sharks, or even the Calgary Flames, because today what I wanted to do was talk about the NHL's rookie race. Not rookie scoring race, not necessarily that. I wanted to talk about the guys that are leading the charge in the Calder conversation, and get things going by talking about this beautiful human being over here, Lane Hutson of the Montreal Canadiens, number 48, 20 years old, 5'10", 165, left-handed defenseman. You know the drill. Everybody is talking about Lane Hutson in Montreal, and for good reason too. He's on a point streak right now, which has seen him earn 6 points in his most recent 4 games. And he's got 32 points in 42 games on the year, on pace for 63 points in 82 games. This number would have been much higher had he just started the season on the top power play, but we're not going to get into that. There were some growing pains and lessons that needed to be taught before Lane Hutson was fully capable of earning St. Louis' trust and being placed onto that roster. I get it. I think a lot of Canadiens fans would have assumed and maybe rightfully believed that, yeah, if you threw Hutson onto the first power play instead of Matheson since the beginning of the year, he probably would have been fine. Yes, he probably would have, but that's just not how NHL teams work, and at some point, I think, we're going to have to be able to see Hutson play a full season on the power play next year and beyond. It's just a matter of time. He's going to be a fantastic NHL defenseman. He hasn't hit his ceiling yet, folks. That's kind of the entire point of being a rookie. But because Lane Hutson is a rookie, he has been tossed into the conversation of the Rookie of the Year. And I wanted to dive into this first and foremost and get just some definitions out of the way. Because when people talk about the Calder, the Rookie of the Year, quote unquote, I think people tend to have different opinions as to what that actually means via the actual NHL thing. I don't have it in front of me right now. I have this in front of me. The Calder is awarded to the rookie which has the best season. Not necessarily the rookie who is the best player, the rookie that has the best season. Which is why, if we go over to, let's just say 2015-16, for example. Let's not take a look at the entire sample from there, but just 2015-16. Connor McDavid was the best player that happened to be a rookie. He was over a point per game. He was the only rookie within reason that was over a point per game, but he missed out on half the year. Artyom Panarin had fewer points, but he played almost the entire year. So, what happened? The Calder didn't go to the guy that was the best player, which was Connor McDavid. He was 18 years old. Artyom Panarin was like 50. Okay, not 50, but still, you get what I mean? He was like 24 or whatever it was. But Panarin had the better season. Disregarding the name, disregarding the age, disregarding the impact they make on the ice. Who has a better, more productive, and more valuable season? 77 points in 80 games, or 48 points in 45? You go with Panarin because he was there longer, and he had a bigger, more long-term impact on the team. That's just kind of how it goes, and I think this season is a prime example of what the Calder really means. Not the guy who had the best play, but the guy who had the best season. And so for 2024-2025, you could realistically say that there are some guys that deserve to be higher up, like, for example, Macklin Celebrini, who is the number 1 point per game guy within reason for these rookies. Of course, Luca Del Belbaluz has over a point per game. He's at 3 points in 2 games, but he didn't play most of the year. Celebrini, though, is at 29 points in 33 games. He's doing very well. Michkov, 30 points, 41 games. Hutson has the most games played out of this group, but he does have the most points. So, where exactly does everything lie here? Does it change much because he is a defenseman? I think it does. I think it really does impact the way this award should be voted. Who's the better season? Okay, is it the guy who had this amount of points at center or this amount of points at defense? I think the defense is a lot more tangible there. But what I wanted to do was dive into the quote-unquote truth, because I stumbled upon this Twitter thread by Data Puck, really interesting Twitter account that went out there and compiled a very smart graph as to everything that we need to look at in regards to analytics for each of these 3 guys: Celebrini, Hutson, Michkov. Took a deep dive into the Calder Trophy race at the midpoint of the season. Hutson leads in multiple categories and public models. Make of it what you will. this is essentially a ranking of 5v5 on-ice stats, 5v5 individual stats, and what Hockey Model's consensus seems to be in regards to Celebrini versus Hutson versus Michkov. On 5v5 on-ice stats, you can see that Lane Hutson is the better of the three in the majority of these categories. Corsi for percentage, expected goals for per 60, goals for percentage relative, goals for per 60, goals against per 60. What this means is, when you think about Lane Hutson's impact on the Montreal Canadiens versus Celebrini's impact on the Sharks and Michkov's impact on the Flyers, Hutson has a better impact on the ice comparative to the opposition than Macklin Celebrini does on the ice compared to the opposition and Matvei Michkov. There are only a few stats here where Celebrini leads: expected goals percentage relative, and you also have Corsi for percentage relative. There's only 2 categories where Michkov leads: expected goals against per 60 and expected goals for percentage. Hutson, though, is number 1 in the majority of these chances. Essentially, you're looking at it like this. You're saying that Michkov and Celebrini, they get more expected goals and better expected goal results, but Lane Hutson gets better results, period, and higher Corsi, too. In terms of individual stats, you could actually see that Macklin Celebrini is better than these two guys. He has the highest goals per 60, primary assists per 60, points per 60, and goals. Lane Hutson is 3, which makes sense. I mean, he's a defenseman after all. He's number 1 in secondary assists per 60, which is not surprising. I mean, he's a defenseman after all. But in regards to points and assists, Hutson is the number 1. Michkov is number 2 across the board in individual stats. And then for Hockey Models, you can see that Evolving Hockey and JFresh each have Celebrini as the better player. Michkov is number 3 on all of these lists, but Evolving Hockey, Hockey Viz, Hockey Stat Cards, and Data Driven Hockey each have Lane Hutson at number 1. It's kind of funny because Evolving Hockey actually values Celebrini and Hutson in the same way. They're both number 1 here. One thing's for sure though, Michkov is number 3 across the board. So with this analytical deep dive, I get that a lot of NHL awards voters don't look at the analytics. They just go by their heart. They just look at the points and then they decide, okay, Cale Makar has more points than Hughes, therefore it's Makar who's number 1. It's kind of ridiculous because a lot of these people, I feel sure they might be within the world of hockey in a prominent position, which grants them a vote, but I feel like a lot of these people just don't understand what they're talking about when they make these votes. It's a lot of reputation and campaigning and stuff. It's like the Oscars. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at the analytics, who has more blue? It's Hutson, straight up. He has more blue compared to everybody else. Michkov is a clear number 3. Celebrini is giving Hutson a run for his money, but Hutson has the majority of the 5v5 on-ice stats in his favor, so there is a big argument to go for here. And even when you just think about the raw hard points, he is number 1 in that. But here's the thing. One of the top comments in this thread goes out there and talks about a different name that should be in contention versus Matvei Michkov. 1. Hutson, 2. Celebrini, 3. Dustin Wolf, who is having a great season as well. Here's the thing about Dustin Wolf. It's so hard for a goaltender to win the Calder Trophy. 23 years old, he was drafted back in 2019, but this season, the guy has a .916 save percentage, 14-6-2 record with 2 shutouts. He is great. He is literally one of the better goaltenders in the entire National Hockey League, and he happens to be a rookie. If the Calgary Flames make the playoffs, if they have themselves a really strong impact from the second half of the season and beyond, look out for Dustin Wolf, who is literally 8th overall in NHL save percentage right now, to be a part of that Calder conversation. Maybe Michkov gets snubbed entirely, and it's just Wolf, Hutson, and Celebrini. Right now, that's where things seem to be trending towards, so let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about the truth. How these guys and these rookies are being evaluated by different NHL data analytical pages, as well as what the common belief is in regards to these names. Celebrini, Michkov, and Hutson are all uber-talented players, but only one can win the Calder Trophy, for the player who happens to have the best season as a rookie. Remember, it's not the best player who is a rookie, it's the best season by a player who is a rookie. There's a little bit of nuance there, which is why Connor McDavid did not win in 2015-16 when Artemi Panarin had a lower points per game. The fact is, people value longevity and the actual season itself more so than the talent profile of the player. So with that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about the Calder, the truth on Lane Hutson, and everything else. I hope you enjoyed this video. And by.